everyone, and welcome back to See You About Salvage and another video on the channel. We're going to continue today with the C3 Aircross because I have a lot of parts that are here now and a lot of parts that are also wrong, so we'll go through them briefly. But yeah, the plan today really is to get it on the floor and moving, so all suspension put back together, well, refixed and replaced, and find out if it actually moves under its own steam and the gearbox is okay. I have also ordered quite a few of the body parts, but unfortunately, yeah, we do have some problems with them. So I will run through what's happened, just so that if any of you guys decide to repair one of these, you don't make the same mistake I do. Because yeah, I've got parts now that are wrong. Anyway, let's turn around and have a little gander. Obviously this is the C3 Aircross. If you haven't seen the first video, do have a check on the channel. And yeah, I think I actually learned something from you guys. This is apparently a PSA car. I presume that's like the VAG group, but for Peugeot, Citroen, Chrysler, apparently it's PSA group. These newer cars, if the battery is disconnected for any length of time, when you reconnect it, you can't start the car for 15 to 20 minutes because the car has to initialise all the modules and do loads of checks, and I'm not sure exactly what it does, but that's what you all told me and it all made sense. And yeah, thank you very much for that information. So that's the reason why it wouldn't start straight away when we were trying to start it in the first video, and miraculously it's just started to work. So it's good to know if you've got one of these and you happen to get a flat battery. Don't panic, just reconnect it, put a new one on, give it a bit of time and it will start to work. Right, we've got some parts. We've got a complete suspension corner here. We've got strut with spring, hub, wheel bearing. It's got a wheel speed sensor on it. And we've got a lower control arm. These two parts are off a 2022 car, so they're like new. We have a drive shaft. So, funnily enough, this drive shaft is off a Vauxhall Crossland. They're the exact same part number. So, the undersides of this must be the same as a Vauxhall Crossland. Or, I don't know, Gearbox. This part's obviously this year. There were none available second hand for a Aircross. So yeah, part number's exactly the same. No reason why it won't be the exact same item. I mean, they've even written on it Crossland there. That is off of Vauxhall Crossland. So that's all our stuff there. We can get this suspension corner sorted and on the floor and moving. We've got a wheel and tyre. On the face of it, this one doesn't look too bad, does it? I know it's got a few marks, but on the inside, I did show in the last video, there's some gouges out of the inside of it. Like, look at that there. I mean, it's quite deep as well. So, it's only right. We replaced that wheel. Now, these are fitted with a 195 6016. I bought this wheel off eBay. And it listed it as the alloy, and it says with 195 6016. Unfortunately, it's turned up with a 205 6016 on it. They had two listings, well, a couple of listings, one with each tyre, so they've obviously just sent me the wrong one. I've contacted them, they're looking into it, yet to see whether they'll do anything, because in the description they did state that the tyre was a 195 6016, but it was free. It just came with the wheel, so they're just going to use that. Even though in the title it said wheel and tyre 195 6016 anyway. Doesn't really matter. Worst case, we'll have to get ourselves another tyre. Now, bumper. This is where things go downhill a little bit more, unfortunately. This bumper was on eBay. It's the right colour. Stories marks, which I was hoping were going to, just polish off. But like I said, most importantly, right colour and no damage. So I jumped on it, listed headline as a Citroen C3 Aircross front bumper 2017 onwards. Very, very similar. Pretty much is a Citroen C3 Aircross bumper, but it's not an Aircross, it's a normal Citroen C3. Two differences. Where the plastic arch trim fixes on the corner, the bumper is flush on the C3. Whereas, I mean, you can just about see it here, where the plastic trim goes on the C3 Aircross, the bumper is recessed inwards, the whole section of there, so that the plastic trim is flush. Do you know what I mean? So behind there, this part of the bumper is recessed back. That's difference number one. You have to excuse me a bit sniffling today. Allergy season and all that. Difference number two. Square-ish headlights in the bumper. And then when you come to the normal C3, I'll flip it over. They're way more rounded. Quite rounded then. A lot more narrow top to bottom and a lot longer. Whereas these headlights are not far off being square and a lot deeper. The rest of them pretty much identical. So yeah, I'm in the process of trying to sort that out. They haven't replied yet, but I mean, it's quite early now and I only sent the email last night. And on the sticker somewhere, here it is, on there it does say C3. It doesn't say C3 Aircross. So yeah, be careful, because there is a lot of bumpers on eBay right now identical to this, all listed as Citroen C3 Aircross bumpers when they're not. They're not C3 Aircross bumpers. So don't get caught out like I did. This bottom section, whole piece there, I've actually got it, it's in that bag there. Oh, I do apologise for sniffling. And this definitely, yeah, Citroen C3 Aircross. So that's definitely the right piece. Right, well, there we go. We've got parts, we can do something. Like I said, the main key was always to get this running and driving on the floor and moving, so that's the key today. Let's get on, let's get this wheel off. Pull off all the damaged suspension parts. Strut, hub, drive shaft, control arm, and yeah, basically make sure there's nothing else going on. We're going to need some gearbox oil, I think. Then we can get it on the floor and check out exactly if this gearbox works. Okay, right, I've just whipped the wheel off. Now, in the previous video for this car, there was a chap that asked me to run through a bit more in depth about removing this suspension because he needs to do the job himself. So I'll just run through exactly where all the fixings are and what sizes they are and the process I'm going to do it. So first of all, I'm going to take the caliper off. You've got two bolts, you've got 13mm there, you've got a 13mm there. Caliper will prise off then. Behind the caliper, you've got your carrier. Let's grab a torch. 55. If you look behind here, I don't know what you can see, sorry, I'll try to get behind it actually. We're looking at them. There's two of, one at the bottom, one at the top. They're a T55 fits in them. That'll get your carrier off, okay? You've got this big nut holding your drive shaft into the hub. This was covered with a little split pin and a little cover, okay? The nut is 55mm to undo that nut. You've also got a little Torx there, I think it's a T25 there, it's holding the disc on. That'll get your disc off, your hub will be separated from your shaft. You have a 13 mil, oh no, what was it? Is it a 13 or was it a 15? One moment. It's a 16. You've got a 16 nut on your strut end. 13 bolt holding the brake flexi to the strut. Underneath on your control arm, you're going to have a 21mm nut there and there. I'm not too sure what was holding the, I think it's a 16 nut and bolt holding the front ball joint in, but I'll have to check that. And then the last bit is going to be the top of the strut, and that is underneath the scuttle back there. That's a 21mm nut. Okay, so you are going to have to take off the windscreen wipers, which are a 15mm nut, and they'll probably be a bit difficult to get off the splice. Then you just pull the scuttle off, take this seal off, pull the scuttle off. It's all pretty simple stuff really. And obviously I'm pulling my shaft. The other end of my shaft is already out the gearbox, so I'm not sure exactly how far you're going with it. And obviously if you're taking strut out, make sure you disconnect your wheel speed sensor, which is going to be, where is it? It's there it is, little blue connector. Okay, hope that's helped. Let's get it pulled apart.
There we go, all removed.
I would say that was probably the easiest one I've ever done. Everything come undone pretty easy. Everything's accessible. They finally decided that putting control arms with bolts facing that way behind lower leg supports is a bad idea. So now you don't have to remove that. So that's good. They go straight up from underneath, front and back. Yeah, it's pretty easy, pretty simple really. All done. Now it's all out, can't see anything else other than this drop link slightly bent. So we'll get a new drop link. You can see a bit more of this wing bracket here now that we're going to have to pull out at some point. It's just like this section here just wants to come this way. But everything else looks straight, everything else does look good, looks fine. I do plan on getting the wing off later, so we shall see. Inner and outer, inner tie rod and track rod end look perfectly fine and straight. Can't see any issues with them. Obviously anti-roll bar, they never bend, thickness of them things. Yeah, all good, no turret damage. Like I said, everything come apart really easy, really nice. And yeah, really happy actually how it's gone. So we're just now going to do the reverse of what we've done. I might throw the control arm in first because they're always a pain to get in. So the more room the better. And then we'll hang the strut just from the top bolt, leave the bottom loose. That means you can pull the strut to the side to slide the shaft in. Once the shaft is in the gearbox and in the strut, hub, sorry, you then put the bottom ball joint into the hub. Tighten everything up, and then you've got your caliper, carrier, disc, pads. Connect up your track rod end, drop link, run your speed sensor. I mean, it's an easy job. Obviously it helps having a ramp. I probably just stripped all that in, what, 15 minutes I think it's took. Completely remove all that suspension corner. It's not hard. It's something you could quite easily do at home with just a normal tool set from Alfred's or something. Yeah. Right, let's get it back together. Right there, we got the majority of it back together. Everything's still loose. I've not tightened nothing up yet, but you get the gist of it, don't you? You get the gist of what's going on here. I just need to tighten track rod end, drop link, top of the struts, the pinch bolt for the ball joint, and then I've got the carrier caliper draw disc, and then a few bits and pieces to do. So I'll do them now off camera, save a bit of time lapse. But yeah, it's gone really well. It's gone on fine. Like I say, it looks really fresh and new, that strut, compared to mine. And mine was looking a bit aged, wasn't it? So it's definitely got a better one on it than I had before. All good, all good. Nothing really to say. Well, the only thing really, if you do take strut out, the top mount, the bushing is oblong. At the back, it's got a little cutout. I don't know if I can get that into there. Oh yeah. It's a little cutout on the bushing at the top. That's towards the engine on both sides. Just so you make sure the top of the strut. Because obviously if you do it the other way around, it'll bring the top of the strut in, which will create camber on your wheel. So yeah, you got to make sure you get that right. But other than that, everything's pretty simple. I've got obviously the dust cap to put on the end of the drive shaft and connect up this wheel speed sensor. All good. Yeah, hopefully next little bit of camera footage will be us seeing if it drives. Fingers crossed. Right, back together and ready to go on the floor. But before we do that, we do have one more job to do. We don't know how much, if any, gearbox oil has drained out of this gearbox due to that shaft being out, do we? So we have no other choice but to drain and refill it, basically. So this gearbox, from new, apparently they take 2.1 litres, but if drained and refilled, they take 1.9. Basically, it's saying that the last 200 mil you can't get out. So we need to find the drain plug, which is there. Can you see that? I'm shining straight on it there. It's got a square fitting for the head. And the refill hole is via the breather, which is in between, right on top of the gearbox, in between the battery tray and the air box. I have seen it, it's going to be hard to get to without taking battery and battery tray out, but I think I'm going to make some pipe work up and get it down to it. I don't want to take it all apart. So what I'll do is I will get this gearbox out, I'm not taking gearbox out. I'll get the drain plug out of the gearbox, get it drained. It'll be interesting to see how much does come out. And yeah, like I said, we'll put 1.9 litres back in, and I'll get all that done and I'll let you know just how much we lost, if any. Okay, it is that time. It felt like it's just taken about an hour to get that gearbox oil in. Because of the distance down to where the breather was to get oil in, I had to use a really thin pipe on a syringe. The syringe only holds 100 ml, and obviously the pipe was windscreen washer pipe, so the flow through it was handbrake was stuck on a bit. The flow was a bit slow. So, but anyway, I got it in 1.9 litres. Right, looks a bit odd, doesn't it? Because obviously the wing. Okay, let's see what happens. Hopefully the battery has enough in it. I mean, I might probably leave it running for a bit now as well. I've not actually had this warmed up yet. It's a funky car in here, you know. It is a funky car. I mean, it's a bit cheap, but it's funky. It's different. energy economy mode activated, so the battery is low. Started straight up, no problem. And yeah, no lights at all, just a low fuel light. Sounds good. Right, clutch feels nice, to be fair. Was into all the gears. Yes, it moves. Should have pumped up that brake pedal, shouldn't I, first? I forgot about that. So I've obviously had the caliper off. The piston will push back in the caliper. Yeah. She's a good one. Very good, very good. So I think that confirms no gearbox issues. I'll have to obviously get underneath and have a look, make sure the driveshaft seal on the gearbox isn't weeping or anything at some point. But it drives, great stuff. Obviously that's only first gear. I'll take it up and down. We have there's a lane up to where I am. It's private road. I'll take it up and down the lane a few times now and just try it, through first, second, third. But I think we're good. I think we're good. So I think we're going to leave it there, I think we'll leave this video here. Next video, we're going to strip it down, get this bumper and wing off, find anything else that we need, hopefully resolve the bumper issue that they've still not replied about. I'm going to send them another message now because I need this dealing with. It's going to end up holding me back on this car and I don't want to. I want to get on with it. Yeah, I need a water bottle. But so far so good. It's going to be a good one. It's going to be okay, this. Nice new modern car. Be a good price. Different stuff, isn't it? I know some people aren't massively fond of these French cars, but they're great value in my eyes. And it's relatively new. It should be hassle-free motoring for a while, really, for someone. Need that cover up there as well. Yeah, right, okay. I'm going to call it a day with this video. I think we've done enough. It's been a success. And we can move on now, rip the front end off. And like I said, just make sure there's no other bits we're missing. Wing is on its way, bumper skin, and then, yeah, it's going to be that light and a few brackets and stuff I would have thought I still need. Have I got a splash guard? I can't remember if I ordered a splash guard. Don't know. Anyway, yes, thank you as always for watching. Really appreciate it. Big thumbs up if you enjoyed the video. And I will see you in the next one. Thank you. Cheers.